Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode of the show is brought to you by Auto Tempest. We haven't seen them in a while, but they back. That's right, Auto Tempest in the house. They've been pretty useful for me recently because I've been looking for a new car. Here's how Auto Tempest works. Basically, they save you time. That's pretty much it, right? You're looking for a car. You're going to pull up a dozen tabs on your browser. You're going to look through a million listings, and a bunch of them are going to be the same because everyone lists their car like on multiple platforms, right? You have to do a bunch of work, and it's like so divided, it's annoying. Auto Tempest takes all of that, brings it into one place for you. They have all the car sites, and they compare all those niche, smaller sites with the results from the big sites like eBay, AutoTrader, Cars.com, and Craigslist. We're talking all of Craigslist, folks. If you haven't been to Auto Tempest in a while, they have added a bunch of new sources of cars, so definitely go check those out. I have been on the hunt for a daily driver, which I actually found, and I used Auto Tempest to really help narrow it down. Autotempest.com, no specific codes or anything, just Autotempest.com. It will save you time. We are also brought to you by Migliore Luxury Car Care Products. They're known for making the best of the best when it comes to car care. Their product line is handmade and poured right here in the USA in Connecticut. Migliore's Strata Coating is a ceramic coating treatment you can easily apply yourself. It adds a ton of gloss, lasts over a year, and keeps your car looking great for longer in between washes, especially if you're somewhere like where I live in Los Angeles, where it doesn't get dirty so much as dusty. If you live by the ocean, you get that salt on there. It really protects from that. It's extremely hydrophobic, meaning water just sheets right off, making maintenance so much easier. Strata Coating has over 100 positive reviews on Amazon, so check those out. And spring is here. Use code TST at checkout at miglioriwax.com. That's Migliore, Migliore wax.com for 10% off their coatings. Also, Continental's in the house. You know, when you think about servicing your car, you think about oil, you think about filters, maybe you think about brake pads, right? What don't you think about? Rubber items that deteriorate and crack over time can cause you big problems, right? I'm talking about hoses, I'm talking about belts, and Continental is who you want to go to for your belts and your hoses. Continental is the maker of a lot. The tens of millions of Chrysler, Dodge, Ford, and GM vehicles come with Continental belts and hoses from the assembly line. They're also OE in the majority of BMWs and Volkswagens, and now Continental's got the aftermarket multi-V belt with the OE pedigree. That is an aftermarket belt for your car, but coming from the people who make the OE stuff. It's their OE technology series, belts that are fanatically engineered for perfect fit, form, and function. And Continental has an OE technology series multi-V belt for 98% of the vehicles on the road in the US and Canada. You get enough surprises working on cars and trucks. You get enough surprises driving cars and trucks. Don't make the belt be one of them. Go with the Continental OE Technology Series Multi-V belt. It's the one with the OE pedigree. To get the full story, visit oetechnologyseries.com. Okay, on this episode of the show, got an old friend in the house. He is all over the world. This man has the Hollywood hustle down. He is an automotive journalist. He is a culture writer. He is an interviewer. He is currently the cars, expert columnist for the Hollywood Reporter. But also, he has his own startup called Borrow, which is offering short-term leases on electric vehicles. Actually, once he listen to this conversation, this is a really interesting business that may even find a few customers in the audience, although I'm not here to sell it for them. I just think it's a particularly interesting model. My friend Jon Guzik is on the Smoking Tire Podcast. We press on because it's the Smoking Tire Podcast on a fucking Thursday. What's happening, people? It's gray outside, but it's the end of the day, and that means the jackhammerers outside our building have stopped jackhammering. Right, Jon Guzik?
Yes.
What's happening, brother?
Hello.
Bienvenue, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well-dressed man, certainly upstaging me today with the pocket square.
I was trying to Tattersalls as close as I get to plaid.
Dude, you came correct with two dope watches.
and a vintage Omega DeVille and a Seiko Bullhead,
For you, my
which
friend, special
are
deal.
much appreciated. Don't worry, folks. We won't spend this show talking watches. Although I did just post the Grand Seiko episode of our other show, the Watch and Listen podcast, with Joe Kirk from Grand Seiko, and I really enjoyed making that show. John, writer. Let's see. You've written for all the big mags, mainly the Hollywood Reporter now, and you're a lifestyle guy, you're a mobility guy, and now you are operating a fleet of shared electric cars.
They are your own personal car called Borrow. So
You've got
our car, you borrow it.
You've got your fucking hands in all kinds of cookie jars, don't you?
Yeah. So I was at the office this morning at I think 5:30 in the morning.
The Hollywood hustle is strong with you.
It's a real hustle.
Okay, I've known you from the press launch days when you were doing more full-time automotive journalism. You're now moved into other areas because you're the automotive guy for Hollywood Reporter, but you stray from just car reviews.
Yeah.
You wrote what is allegedly a nice piece on my garage, although I haven't seen it yet.
Yes.
But how did you end up in this position where you are writing about cars, where you are operating a fleet of EVs? Who the fuck is Jon Guzik anyway?
It's a lot of hard work. I'm not going to lie. So my background is my bio is very long, so I'd like to thank my one of my interns for helping me write that. So my hustle is real. So I started off way back in the day, and I took notes on a bunch of your old podcasts. I just want to say that I've known Mike Spinelli for 15 years. He was 50 when I met him 15 years ago. So there's no way on God's green earth that guy's 50 years old. Like he was saying he's turning the 50 and an episode of your show, and I'm like,
Can we, for 1 second, if you've known Mike Spinelli 15 years, have you ever met Barbara?
Never.
Okay. Because neither have any of us. Zach, did you raise your hand like you've met Barbara?
No, I was agreeing to the point.
So Spinelli is one of my only New York car friends that actually didn't come to my wedding, and I thought he was going to come, and he said no last minute, and I think it's because he wanted to hide Barbara. I don't know.
She's somewhere in Nyack.
I've heard him on the phone to a woman before.
It can't be real. So the other spin story that I'll tell is that because I like to do a lot of diligence on. I do deep reporting, deep reporting, and all my reporting is deep reporting. So I was doing it on the show, and I've never met Barbara, and I was with Mike Spinelli when he bought a sports coat because they lost his luggage, and he went to the outlet malls across from Volkswagen World in Wolfsburg, where there's an outlet mall over the bridge, and he bought himself a sport coat.
And were you on a launch for something?
We were on some sort of global. It was we got off the plane. We flew over. This was like 8 or 9 years ago. We flew over. We landed, and when we land, they took us directly to a boardroom where they discussed MLB, MQB.
Yeah.
And halfway during one of these things,
those are the Volkswagen vehicle platforms.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I went and I took a nap, and then I woke up and I came back and the guy was still talking. And that was also the trip where I complained because there was too much construction noise and I had to move my room. And then they gave me a suite.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's sort of my writing career.
Solid. Okay, so you've been writing about cars for a long time, long enough to know Mike Spinelli when he was 50 the first time.
Yeah, 50 the first time. He's like one of those like ladies that you see at like Neiman Marcus at Mariposa, like having their lunch. So just a quick background. I started off, I didn't think I was going to write about cars or do anything with cars or be a car person. All I knew is that I liked cars, and I grew up in Southern California, and I grew up reading Automobile magazine years ago. And then I always knew I liked cars. I went to college, and then I went to SF State, and after college, I ended up...
Did you study anything specific?
Film theory.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And
interesting.
Yeah.
Did you think you want to be like a film critic or something?
I thought I was going to be Clement Greenberg when I grew up. So Clement...
Dude, I could see you as a film, it's not a stretch at all.
I went to film school, and then after film school, I started working on TV commercials, and I worked on a ton of car commercials because that's how I paid my rent.
When you say worked on, what was the actual gig?
I was a production assistant.
Oh, okay.
And then I worked my way up from PA to Key PA, which is king of the dipshits.
Key PA is like the manager of the PAs?
I have all the petty cash.
You handle the money.
Yeah, so the petty cash means that you learn, and then your producers teach
when they say called a Jew PA.
Well, they teach you how to, everyone works, they teach you how to juice, which is like...
What is that?
Well, the grips that come up to like I have a gas receipt, $100 gas receipt. I'll sell to you for $50.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, because so this is like old school Hollywood.
Whoa.
So it's
we have learned to hustle.
It's called the juice. So
Dear JF.
yeah, and well, you can end up just like Emil Rensing, so which is really fun.
Yeah,
Good point.
So so they juice you. So I worked on TV commercials, and I realized after I was PAing, and then I was coordinating, I was PAing. I was scrubbing the grill from an El Pollo commercial where they eat the food and then spit it out. And it was at a studio on Pico, and I'm scrubbing the grill, and I ruined my totally awesome like Nike Air Maxes. And I come back and I sit and I eat lunch, and I'm covered in sweat, covered in grease, taking a 1-minute break just to shovel some food down my throat. And the producer sees me sitting down. He's like, "What are you doing?" And he fired me off the show
For sitting?
and put his son on the show. And I said, fuck these people.
Yeah.
Fuck this business. So I went to grad school at CalArts, and I got my master's degree in critical theory, which is fairly useless, except for you get to go to CalArts for 2 years, which is super fun. And
what
then
actually is critical theory?
I did my dissertation on fashion theory. So basically, like, it's a whole thing about like garments and runes, and was a whole thing. But my mentor was a man named Dick Hebditch, who wrote a book called Subculture.
Okay.
And Subculture was the first cultural studies book about punk rock. He wrote it. He wrote it in the 70s. It's an amazing book. So I was like a super duper academic. And then I got out of
Car enthusiast the whole time though on the side, casually?
No.
Not a car enthusiast.
I thought cars were cool, and I grew up around cars, and I always liked cars. But I owned an old 1964 Mercury Comet in San Francisco.
That's kind of cool.
Kind of blew up. I sold it for $1,000, 4 coupons for the soup plantation, and a bag of weed for my girlfriend.
I mean, listen.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Soup plantation is delicious.
It's delicious. So
me and my wife, our tradition, shit you not, anniversaries, soup plantation.
Yeah, that's
we dress up and shit.
You're like, here's I'll loan you my jacket.
You never see him in the South, though.
No,
I think we know why.
Yeah.
No, they don't. Yeah,
I
like
think
it's a marketing issue. It's a branding problem.
Might have a different name in the South.
Panera.
Yeah, exactly. So I liked cars. I always thought cars were cool. But living in LA is like, I grew up here. So I grew up in the Valley. So like, my neighbor had like my neighbor's dad had like a 560 SL.
Yeah,
and they're always like, I had a kid who I went to high school with. Like his dad or her dad had like a 308.
Okay.
So they were always nice cars because I grew up.
Yeah, in the area. This is where you see nice cars.
Yeah, and just like here, like my daughter like sees nice cars. So I went to grad school, and I came out of grad school, and I'm like, I want to be an art theorist, and I wrote a ton of art catalogs and a ton of stuff. I did
like art catalogs, like for auctions.
So I worked a lot with an artist named Doug Aitken. So I wrote some of his catalog stuff. I wrote critical theory pieces about art. Like I wrote about art. I was like an art.
You're
writer.
an art critic.
Yeah, I was an art critic.
Yeah. That's a tough gig. It's like
there's one way to get rich being an art critic, and that's marrying a rich patron. So I loved it, and I loved the intellectual rigor of it, but it wasn't really. It didn't foot the bill. So I got a job working in Internet 1.0. This was like in the early 2000s. And I produced a ton of websites, and I worked for a bunch of internet companies, and then every internet company went out of business.
Yeah.
So I had a ton of technical skills working, on the web, like producing stuff and, creating stuff. And I realized my real passion was
like kind of basic .com content.
.com content, but more producing the sites and like doing not M&A, but doing sort of the deals for the sites together, and like sort of like being the managing editor.
Okay.
I was never like, I wasn't a freelancer, but I was the managing editor. It was called a site producer back then. Right now you would be like I would be the head of product.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then all these companies went out of business, and I saved a little bit of money when I realized I wanted to be was a writer. So my hustle was always been really strong. So even when I started PAing, there used to be a thing called the LA 411. Remember those? It was like a book that thick.
No, I wasn't here. What year are you talking about
this
then?
Is like 99.
Okay, I came to LA in 09.
Okay, so basically there was a book called the LA 411, and 411 had every production company in the book. When I first moved to LA back in 1996, I had my phone, and I sat in my apartment on 6th Street, and I called every single production company.
And just asked to be a PA?
Asked to be a PA.
How many calls did you make before someone even took you kind of seriously?
800.
Fuck.
Yeah,
That's a hustle.
Yeah, so it's a hustle.
That's kind of like, now we have our automotive journalist associations where you join and you get the book that's got, the PR people's contact information, and that's where you get the press cars from.
But I did the same thing with writing.
Yeah.
When I wanted to be a writer, there were no internet jobs for me, and I'm like, here's my chance to be a writer. So I wrote for everyone. I wrote for like Soma magazine, which I don't think exists. I wrote for something called BAM.
Like a sleeping pill.
Yeah. I wrote
ill-named magazine.
I wrote for like a BAM. Like I wrote about music. I wrote about everything.
How did you get those gigs? Because people ask me all the time, how do you get like these freelance gigs? So like,
I worked for free for clips.
Okay.
Or I worked for 10 cents a word for clips.
Yeah.
I hustled my friends and asked who they were starting out their writing careers, and we shared contacts. And then I had a really good friend who I went to grad school with who was an editor at Maxim magazine.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, this is in 2000. And I said...
That was like peak Maxim.
Peak Maxim.
Yeah.
And then I had
Maxim was a big fucking deal that year. Yeah.
And I had a friend who was at Stuff.
Which was basically the same magazine, right?
Stuff was like the younger, cooler version. So I had friends that worked at Dennis. Dennis was the publishing company. And I said, my roommate at the time, he said, you seem to like cars. Why don't you write about cars? And no one was really writing about cars except for the Buff books. So I pitched my friend to write about cars.
For Maxim?
Yeah. For Stuff. And then they're like, sure.
Awesome.
You can turn in 125 words on cards. So they were like
125 words sounds hard, actually. You really have to trim that shit down.
They're deep captions. I didn't even think there was like my first press car was a Subaru
92X.
Yeah. That was 2001.
Yeah, that's like 01, 02. Yeah.
And then
that's a weird first press car, isn't it?
I was doing a piece on, because I never wrote like watches. I'm not a new watch guy. I'm a vintage watch guy. So I just wrote about like car culture, not really the cars. So I started writing for Stuff and for Maxim.
It's kind of a better way in.
Yeah.
A lot of people want it because there's a little bit of glamour in car reviews. Press cars are dope.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks press cars are dope. So you always want to write car reviews, but everyone's like, how do I get started? I'm like, write about anything that isn't a car review.
Yeah.
And then people, including myself, find a really hard time in that.
Gives you broader scope too, right? Like Brett Burke came in and he's written about everything, but I think you get a different, more
Brett.
worldly view.
I love Brett.
He was fucking great on this show.
Yeah.
I'd love to have Brett back. I didn't know what to expect from Brett, but he destroyed. He was great.
I have my notes. There's a Mike Spinelli joke. There's a Sam Smith. I'm supposed to talk about Dodge vans.
Oh yeah, Dodgebun.
Dodgebun.
Every time I see one in the street now, Dodgebun.
Brett Burke being Burke. That's just my note. and then there was something about someone. It might be you, Zach. You don't own a plaid shirt. Someone doesn't own a shirt except
I own
for
like 8.
No,
okay.
He owns 8, but he wears one.
They're all
over
red
and over.
plaid shirts.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I am that person.
Yeah. So those were the notes that I took. Yeah.
Very good.
So, but
thorough, deep research.
Yeah.
He came in and he's like, where have you been before this? I was like, pretty much started here in 09. The only other thing, you didn't know that. You just knew I owned 5 plaid shirts.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I mean, that's the good stuff. They're like when you can't write about anything, write about the drapes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just started writing, and I just wrote, and I wrote, and I woke up in the morning, and I was renting a house in Silver Lake, and I turned the back room into my office, and I would wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning because all my editors were in New York time. I'd wake up at 6 a.m. I would take a shower, I'd make a pot of coffee, I'd get dressed. Sometimes I'd put on a shirt and tie and a jacket to sit in front of my computer, and I would just file stories. I didn't care what it was about or what I had to do. I just filed stories. And I was on the...
Right, wearing a jacket and tie to work in your own house I don't know if that's weird or awesome. I don't know what to make of that. It's committed.
Yeah,
it's committed for sure.
Especially in Silver Lake back in like the early aughts. Like, so.
Well, did it just put you in the mindset of professionalism? Was it that? Yeah.
Like Mad Men style. It's like, and I feel like if you're an adult male, you should comport yourself with a sense of dignity, which I think is missing. But that's a whole other thing. So, so
maybe I should have dressed up for this show.
No, it's okay.
This is about the nice stuff.
I'm about to tell you what I'm writing about for Pebble. So
okay.
So for me, I just started writing, and then and I just kept going, and then I wrote a piece about hot import nights for the Los Angeles Times. I used to be before Dan was there, I was like a stringer for the LA Times, and I wrote about car culture. And I was a stringer at the LA Weekly, and I wrote about car culture. I wrote about Latrell Sprewell and his rims. I wrote about drifting. I wrote about
just talking about Sprewells. God, do I miss Sprewells?
yeah.
Who's gonna bring fucking Sprewells back, dude? Someone's got to do
They'll
it.
come back. They're kind of cool.
Who's gonna choke PJ Carlissimo? is what I wanna know. So I wrote about like sprees, I got super. And then one of the first people I ever met was John Naderi.
Oh yeah, Nads. I just saw Nads. He's an OG too.
And Nads was, and like I wasn't even a writer, and so I went to, where did I go? I went to Bonneville, and I was thought I was going to write a book about automotive subcultures, and that's how I got into it. And I wrote about Hot Import Nights. I did this big long feature for Hot Import Nights that was like 8 pages in the calendar section. It was like it used to be a Thursday.
Hot Import Nights.
It was a really long piece. It must have been 2,000 words. And from there, the PR person liked it so much. He was the PR person at Yahoo, and he got me my job at Yahoo Autos.
That's awesome.
And then I worked at Yahoo Autos as the managing editor for 4-something years.
Were you across the street right here?
I was in San Jose.
Oh, yeah.
So I lived in LA, but I would fly up. And I still wrote for other people, but then I had Yahoo, and I worked for them for a really long time. And then I got hired at a company called Driverside. And
remember
then
Driverside?
Employee number 3. And I scaled that company from 0 users to 50 million plus. And then we sold that to Advanced Auto Parts. And
what do they do with it? Are they still operating it?
I think so.
Once you stop cranking out the content, I stopped really seeing much from it.
I don't know. I think they're still around, but I know we scraped all the stuff. I scraped all the stuff that we produced years ago, so that's all I know. And then after that, I just kept writing and writing and writing and writing. And
Zach, did you find anything on the website over there for Driverside?
it's kind of crappy.
It's just really a landing page.
I feel like they haven't updated the content in a really long time.
I don't see much content at all. Yeah.
Anyway, so after that, I went into consulting. I was always writing about cars, but I went into technology consulting, and I started a CSR company doing corporate social responsibility. And I built
corporate social. Okay, so how not to be pieces of shit?
No, how did corporate giving, I worked for a company. We gave away $100 million worth of software to disadvantaged communities.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
noble.
Noble. So I always wrote, but for me, it's the writing was it was a intellectual passion and pursuit, and I know everything about cars. Being at Yahoo and then being at Driverside, it was and then writing. So it's 8-9 years of serious like the car launch trips.
Yeah.
For
just that circuit
for years. And the thing is
you the full on, were you diamond status on everything?
I was I was and it was
give me one. What is the most over the top extraordinary press launch that you can remember from that? I like asking folks who've been on the circuit about this. Was it a Jeff Day one?
Yes.
He was legendary at Mercedes.
I was the car writer at Pop Sci for about 2 hours. That was my gig. I had the gig at Pop Sci. I was the car guy at Pop Sci, and then they fired the whole staff. So if you're at Pop Sci or you're at Yahoo and you're at these big titles, people invite you to a lot of places. So I got invited to the SL launch in Nice.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Starts off well.
So it was. We were staying the launch was in Nice, but we were going to Cannes and then spending time in Cannes and all around that neighborhood. It's Cannes, not Cannes. So we flew into Nice, and then we took a Eurocopter from the Nice airport and landed at the Saint-Tropez polo field.
Sick.
To get into the full Russian, which was the white on white with the carbon fiber SL63.
Sick.
And then it was me and Jeff Day and someone else stayed an extra day or two. And Jeff took us, we went promenading and it was crazy. It was
in Monaco or
something. It was a crazy ass trip. Those still exist. I don't go on those, but they still exist.
I mean, I have been to some that really sound super glamorous, but actually, like, when you consider how long it took to get there and how long you stay there and then how long it was like kind of annoying. But like I've heard stories of ones where like they go to the club till like 8 in the morning and like there's yachts and there's seaplanes and like
I went on a car trip to Ibiza and we were
known driving destination.
I put my bags down in my room because we drove the car. We landed. We were coming from maybe Geneva or something. We were coming from somewhere. Went to Ibiza for like a day or two to drive a car. Drive the car. Fellow journalist threatened to kick my ass, quote unquote, because I took his car, which means that I asked for the diesel stick shift and I got it before him.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was the editor at Yahoo then, and like I'm sorry that the freelancer didn't get the car that he wanted and wanted to beat me up. So
is he still working in the?
I don't fucking. He's probably dead by his own hand. But I put my bags down after the drive. We got there, put my bags down, did the drive, went to dinner, and then came back the next morning and unpacked and literally like changed my clothes and left. But as
like the beds remained made.
I never saw it. And just like you open up the room, it's like all of Ibiza. It's beautiful. But we go to the club and a fellow journalist and the PR person, I'm not going to mention names. That person drank too much and then went out and made the cab driver pull over on the way back to the hotel to go to the bathroom, and dude fell into the ditch. And then the PR person looks at me and gives me a knowing grin like, Guzik, take care of this shit. So I'm like, okay. So I get out of the car and the guy's like a turtle, like on his back in like a ditch of like rose bushes. And it was like Platoon. I'm like, give me your hand. And he reaches up and grabs my arm like this, like Game of Thrones.
Like the cliffhanger.
Yeah. You got it.
Sorry, Zach.
It's like spit coming out. And I pull him out of a ditch.
That's so funny.
And put him into this car. And then back to the hotel.
Nice.
So, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Okay. So there's been some proper launching.
Yeah. But anyway, so after we sold Driver's Side and I did all the CSR stuff, I then launched Ride Apart. So I acquired a pre-existing website from some motorcycle guys that I don't know what they're doing now. So
do not wish what they are doing now.
I haven't talked to him since 2012.
Maybe
Ride Apart for a minute was integrated with Drive, which Zach and I were part of briefly, and it culminated in me riding bitch on a GSXR 1000 with Jamie. What's his last name? Jamie Robinson. I cannot believe I did that. It was one of the scariest things I've ever done.
It's interesting to see what happened. That was like 8 years ago.
2011, maybe 12.
Yeah,
11 or 12.
It was interesting to see what happened in those the 7 years.
What's the date on that video?
2011,
January 17th, 2013. The video is called "Two Guys, One Bike" on Ride Apart.
Two Girls, One Cup was big that year. Yeah.
So
still good movie.
It's really that video. There, just pull up the still shot there. That video is worth watching because it's basically just me while a like MotoGP rider,
super MotoGP guy,
tries to fucking scare the shit out of me on Latigo Canyon Road on a Gixxer 1000.
Why the fuck not?
It was terrifying.
Yeah, why the fuck not?
What happened there?
I was trying to I just want to load the photo because like I just remember you coming around the corner going very fast.
Yeah.
And Jamie weighs 80 pounds.
Yeah.
And on the sport bikes, the second seat is up so high. It looked all wrong according to physics and geometry for motorcycles.
Yeah. It was so fucking scary.
They do that at like MotoGP races. They'll give people like rides.
Right. Yeah.
It's like no thank you.
Look at my face there. That's
how many views did we get on that?
Probably kind of a bunch. I think.
Yeah. So there was a moment like when the drive was everyone. It was like the Avengers.
Yeah. It was all in for a minute.
Yeah.
And then Amel happened.
Yeah. Thanos.
Thanos. How does it? 160,000 views. That's not enough.
No,
Everybody go watch Two Guys, One Bike. Google that.
Well, back then it was a lot. It was a lot of views.
I think that's a pretty decent number.
Yeah. But producing video content's hard.
Oh shit,
shit's hard.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work. So
I just recently had to teach a video crew that was probably very good at their jobs, but had never shot cars before.
Yeah.
Like the basics of shooting cars, and training them was tough.
The angles to get a good. I mean, I have like a nice iPhone. I don't know how to shoot cars still, and I've been like around them forever.
Yeah.
So anyway, so
Ride Apart.
Ride Apart. We did well for a while, and then the industry kind of shit itself.
Mildly. There was a mild poo.
The recession happened. People stopped buying bikes. There was a time when you would walk into the motorcycle dealership, and they wouldn't have new bikes. It would be they skipped a model year. They literally,
When was that?
During the recession, like 2015.
Really?
Right, yeah, 2016.
Well, actually, now that you think of it,
2012.
now that you think of it, the big bike store where I got my scooter serviced, I remember it being able to buy like a new 2015 bike, like deep into 17.
Yeah,
That's a good. Yeah, that's true.
And then bikes, and then the whole, and we had a grand designs to scale up larger and do a lot of stuff, but running a media company was just really, it was like A, like punching yourself in the face, and then B, lighting all your money on fire.
There's a reason that the Smoking Tire has remained basically two people.
Yeah.
Because like a successful podcast and a successful YouTube channel can basically feed 1.5 people.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, unless you want to like daily vlog.
Yeah, unless you are really about like there are also, I think, the things that that need to be done to be super successful on YouTube right now are not things that I feel comfortable doing.
Well, for us for content, we were trying to do like lead generation. I was trying to take what we built at Yahoo, that make model trim page, and put it onto motorcycles, and I'd walk into meetings with these like ex dirt bike racers. I might have been the first Jew they ever met, maybe. And they're like, the whole industry was just fucked. And then but it was fun running it when I ran it. And then back in 2015, one of my really good friends from college moved back to LA, and he was an attorney, and him and I started kicking around ideas of doing new startups, and then we were germinating ideas and figuring out what to do. And then in 2016, we incorporated my company, which is Prazo, and we'll get to the writing soon, I promise. And then we ended up spending a bunch of time. I built the first pass-through system for where you can lease a car on a phone, and we signed up a bunch of dealers, and we did a ton of that. And then when I started seeing all these electric cars coming off lease at these really depressed prices, we did a pivot. In 2017, we launched Borrow. So we're the first.
You drove up in an electric smart car.
Yeah,
which is apparently awesome.
I think it's great. So my other,
you know who had one of those? My friend Batim at BBI Autosport, who builds like fucking 240 mile an hour Porsches.
Yeah. Does Batim love it?
He said it was the greatest thing ever.
What's so good about it is that it's not fast, and since it's so small, you think everyone's tailgating. So I'm like, why is this dude on my ass?
He said between the torque and the size, there's no fucking hole in traffic too small.
There is.
You can be such a dick,
and you can park wherever you want. I literally.
Do you back it up to the curb?
No.
In Europe, they do that shit.
I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the charging cable to the outlet in my house, so I literally came in sideways where the car was almost sideways in my carport last night. Anyway, so we launched this company called Borrow. We're the first subscription electric car company in the world.
How's it work?
You go to joinborrow.com, you put down a reservation, you choose your car, and so we have everything from smart EVs to Tesla Model S's and X's.
Oh, cool.
And then
Is this only in LA?
We're across California. We're scaling live across California. We've had about...
How many cars do you guys have?
We have had about 60 cars in our fleet and a couple hundred users.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're, there's about 11 people working at the company. So
where do all the cars live? Are they just out and about? And there's an app and you go find it?
No, it's your car. So you say,
how does that work?
You say, I want this car for 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months. And then we acquire the car for you, and then we deliver. You come pick up the car, and you get a swag bag full of stuff, and then you drive around an electric car.
That's it.
It's just EVs.
It's short-term EV leasing.
Short-term. That's our exact pitch. And the thing is, like, because
is it to get people to try it out? Is it because you think people? Why this exact thing?
Two things. One is I think the OEs don't know how to sell EVs.
I think that's correct.
I think the dealers. My friend, she just bought a i3, and she called me. She bought an i3 last week. She called me this literally this morning at 7:30 in the morning. She's like, I thought if I plugged it into my wall overnight, it'd have a full charge. She basically got 12 miles. And she had
On a 110 outlet, right?
Yeah, she had to go pick up her kid. So I feel like there's no education. And then all these vehicles are basically, they're depreciating like a CL600.
When I bought my, I leased a Volt, 2013. Possibly the best car I've ever had.
Yeah.
And a fucking phenomenal vehicle. The guy selling it to me at the dealer, who was LA dealer, I don't need to shit on him, but it was an LA dealer. The guy claimed he was the Volt specialist for that dealer.
Yeah.
He said no fewer than 5 incorrect things in the first 5 minutes I met him.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
And the thing is with these cars is that, so we're building out the ecosystem and the infrastructure for manufacturers to put their new vehicles on our platform, to take off-lease pre-owned vehicles on our platform, because we've built out all the relationships and partnerships. So all you have to do is say, I want an EV, and we'll get you an EV.
Is the does the customer, like, I want a car for 3 months. I want a BMW i3 for 3 months, right? Does my name go on the reg?
It's our car.
Okay, it's your car.
Yeah, so
okay.
we have, there's a whole...
So I have a rental agreement of some kind,
Yeah, so my business partner left his job. He was in-house counsel at Google, and he quit his job to work full-time on this. So yeah, it's pretty ironclad, and just, we did I did a lot of angel investing and advising. So I just know a lot of people in the startup community. So it's actually really interesting. And the nice thing is that it affects my writing in a different way, because I being a known entity in the automotive world, my edge is like, I'm like the best analyst in the world. So I'm the best financial analyst in the world when it comes to the automotive industry. So I realized there are opportunities to create this borrow system, and it's doing really well.
Since you guys have gone through a bunch, do you guys do you have warranties for this kind of stuff?
Yeah. So the best part is, in California, I could be wrong, but in California it says that if you have a car that operates under electric propulsion, there's a 10-year warranty on the drivetrain and battery pack in that car. So our car...
That's a law?
It's a law in California.
I didn't know that was a law. Supersedes a manufacturer warranty.
Yeah. They say it doesn't, but the thing is, like, I'm not going to fight with California. But yeah, so these...
But you have Google's lawyer.
Sure. Yeah. So
if you have to.
So one of them.
Yeah. So these cars are, I think there's like 13,000.
I'm sure there's
so
a lot,
yeah, these cars are warranted and they're great. I mean, the thing is, like, that's a 2015 smart car. It's $200 a month.
No, yeah, I'm not...
$200 a month we're charging for that car.
No money down, $200 a month.
$200 a month, 9-month lease. Yeah.
That's actually...
Plus insurance.
That's really reasonable.
Yeah, and the thing
customer provides their own insurance, obviously,
or we can bundle it for them.
Okay.
So the thing is that, and I think it's not subscriptions like what some of the other competitors are doing, but specifically.
Well, there's like subscriptions where it's like you take the car, it's parked on the street, and you take it for an hour, like was it Car to Go or whatever that is,
Zip car.
Yeah.
Zip car.
I have a 5-year-old kid. If I try to show up with my car seat into like a Zip car and the car's not there, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, for us, like, it's the data collection that we're pulling off the car. So all the telemetry data, the charge load data, where it's being charged, like are these chargers working? Are these users charging at home?
And then there's a side market for the data.
Yeah. So we're a data collection company, and we're doing something really interesting, and we're doing something different in space. And the thing is, like, I like electric cars a lot.
I like electric cars a lot too.
The same business would apply
in the city, especially.
If you did the same business with 911s, it would probably work too. But you have to.
Isn't Porsche's doing their subscription thing, right?
So no one has ever wanted a car swap. Like, I want to drive a convertible one week and an SUV the next week. The only people that get to do that are car journalists. So it's like, it's just no one wants car swapping. So I feel like sticking.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And no one wants to swap a car. I've never ever. So
really, if you would, you don't. I mean,
do you want to spend $2,000 a month to swap?
I don't know what it's like to have $2,000 a month to burn.
Mm-hmm.
If my plan was to lease a car for between $1,500 and $2,000, and that's not my plan, but if it was, I would consider a model that allowed me to have an SUV in the winter and a 911 in the summer.
It's such a rare air at that price point per month. I have a friend who's leasing a super expensive Panamera Turbo S Executive.
Yeah.
And once a week, maybe not once a week, it's a shit ton of money. It's like $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
I get a text and he's like, how can I get out of this lease. And I'm like, you're fucked.
Why does he want out of the lease?
Because he doesn't want the car anymore.
Okay.
But then when you try to get him to a service like that, anyway, so the subscription model, it can equate for anything. So it's the same thing with housing. So the industry.
So who wants a car for 3 months at a time?
College students, EV enthusiasts that are waiting for their new car to come out, a lot of empty nesters, corporate transplants, people that are between leases. So
that's true. Okay, all of those are excellent arguments for a 3-month lease.
Yeah, and so hopefully by Thanksgiving, knock on wood, we're going to have 10% of the Southern California electric car market operating through Borrow.
How would that be calculated? What is the electric car market? What does that mean?
There's 133,000 electric cars sold in California.
Okay.
So those are the ones coming off lease. So basically, it's about 1,000 cars.
And you guys are just vacuuming up all those off lease cars.
It's now becoming a little more complicated to get the cars, but and the thing is, it's just because people say they want it, but for some people, it's a business opportunity, but it's an interesting. Again, it gets back to the writing thing. It's an interesting intellectual endeavor to try to scale something like this up.
Okay, so I've had. Let me pivot a little bit. This sounds like a fucking cool business. I'm not gonna lie. This does sound like a really good use of the resources of off lease EV cars and like. Shit, $200 a month, 3-month commitment on a smart car. Like, okay,
yeah, why not?
Not bad. I like it. If in between cars or whatever, sure, that's all great. Public charging network. When I had the Jag I-Pace recently, which I fucking love.
Yes, amazing.
Did you fuck with I-Pace yet?
Amazing.
I-Pace is sick.
Someone in person the other day looks way better in person than photos too.
It is so great.
I went to Pebble with them last year. And then got to drive the car, and then they dropped one off of like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I drove the I-Pace around. It was quiet.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Like the design, like Ian's work on that car is amazing.
Yeah.
It's such a good car. And I get out of it, it's super quiet. I gave it a hug goodbye. And then page one came and dropped off a Cadillac XT5. And it felt like the death of America. It's like two badgers fighting in a burlap
really
sack.
Depressing.
It's a CVT, like it's like
yeah.
And the thing is like being a car person, so we can get off this EV tangent, but people come to EVs not because they're green, because that's table stakes.
Yeah.
They come to it because it's a technological leap above what's available. And while you can like a pushrod V8, it's like apples and hand grenades.
I like EVs because of the smoothness. I find when I drive an EV, I typically arrive more relaxed.
Yeah.
Because of the lack of vibrations and harshness. But the point was with the I-Pace, I don't have a good charger built into my house. It's bullshit 110. It charges the I-Pace ridiculously slow. I think it was a mile or two per hour. I mean, fucking nothing.
Yeah.
So I have to use the public charging network. The public charging network on the west side of Los Angeles is atrocious.
Because it's packed. Everyone's got a Tesla.
Well, there's Tesla superchargers at the mall around the corner, but I'm talking about ChargePoint and EV Go.
Yeah.
There are so few chargers,
and
they're slow. They're like the 25 watts. They like even Jag was like charges in 30 minutes with 100. There isn't a single 100 watt in anywhere in LA.
EV Go. There's an EV Go, and they're one of our partners, and so is ChargePoint. But
I'm not trying to shit in your partners, but I just had a tough experience with them.
It's not about that. So what is about the charging station is this. I went to the mall to charge my I-Pace in Sherman Oaks.
Okay.
I'm like, I need a little bit of charge. There was one charge point, and then it's put in by the mall. So Westfield put it in there. And then they share one 6.6 kilowatt charger.
God, that's
divided into two, so it's 3.3. So it's just
nothing.
like a 110. EV Go though, when I had the I-Pace, I went. There's one at 8,000 Sunset. Put the car there, 40 minutes. I got to 80%. Like went to Trader Joe's, came back. In the next 5 years, it will be completely different. But for right now, it's
pretty rough.
It's only rough. So here's the thing: if you're committed and you've got a charging station, you come home. You never pay for gas.
Right.
I have a Nissan Armada Platinum sitting because I'm going. I'm taking it this weekend on a road trip. And I'm like, getting here will be 5 gallons of gas.
Look,
and I haven't been.
I understand.
I don't even know where
Here's
I am.
the problem. My problem with the public charge network. Yeah, of course. In theory, if you have a home, you can put a charger there. But if you live in an apartment, or if you live in an old apartment and you're street parking or parking under one of those carports in the back, and and you have to use you can't be converted. So really,
and how does borrow come into that? Because the people borrowing obviously are not going to install the fast charge at their house.
So 80% of our customers have charging at their work. So they'll be able to charge at work. If they need a trickle charge, they can trickle charge if they have a carport. But
is charging at the workplace becoming? I haven't worked in a big office anytime recently. Is it becoming much more ubiquitous?
Say you work at Universal, I think there's 65 charging stations at Universal. I think at Warner Brothers there's maybe like 50 charging stations.
Okay.
So what people are doing, it's an amenity they're putting in at work, especially in Southern California. So you'll go to work, you'll charge the car. There's a whole etiquette that needs to be worked out where if you're done with the car, then you kind of leave. But you never really need to be at 100%. Because you need to be, the battery wants to be at 80%.
You need to get home, I guess.
Yeah, and then you need to get around. But the thing is, like, we've only had one person that turned in the car because
they couldn't deal with the...
I don't think that customer knew that it was an electric car. So...
Wow.
So the public is like, with the whole P.T. Barnum thing is true. But the thing is, like, electric cars, and especially in Hollywood, and kind of which gets back to the writing, it's like electric cars seem to be... They're going to be more ubiquitous, and whether it's your only car or a shared car or a car and a bunch of cars. So my wife has a SUV because we have to take our kid around. It's a gas-powered SUV. And then I drive press cars, or I'll just pull one of our cars out of the fleet.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, it's super fun. And then for our users, it takes some getting used to, but once you get used to it and you figure it out, it's like you're hooked.
I loved having an electric car in my available fleet. And if we got another one, I would probably just pay to have the charger installed at my house.
So I got out of the Urus and into the Smart EV.
Yeah.
And they were not as much fun, but I felt a lot. I felt as though I wasn't hemorrhaging gas money with.
Did you like the Urus?
I did.
I like certain things about it a lot. I don't like anything about how it looks.
I thought it looked great. The interior. I had a white one. That white one that's floating.
Yeah, Zach's got the picture of it. It's not broken, right? They just picked it up on a flatbed for transport reasons.
They pick it up and drop it off on a flatbed. Yeah. So to go back to the writing, so I'm the automotive correspondent at 2 places. One is I'm a contributing editor at Automobile magazine. So I write about everything but cars at Automobile. Mm-hmm. So I don't do any car reviews or any car content for Automobile. I do some, but it's like first person, like I drove this and my wife liked that. Yeah. But I feel like there's so many people that are better car writers than me. Like I read someone, Mac wrote this piece about, he wrote it on the plane after doing a first test drive, but it was like a 4,000 word piece about the GT3.
Yeah.
And I read it, and then I read the way like people do stuff, and I'm like, how the fuck do they, like, how does like Brett Burke like?
I can write 3,500 words on a new supercar, and I have.
Yeah, and the thing is it's so many words.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, that is a skill set that it's a craft, not an art.
For me, if Travis says I want 800 words on something, I have like a panic attack because I'm like, through the intro and a little more at that point. I go long. I do.
Yeah. So for the Hollywood Reporter, I do mostly because I grew up here and I know everyone here, and I've been in the world and I know how to talk to these people. How I write for them is less about the cars and more about the people around it. So
the stories.
But they're also super heavily reported. So you can't just write about one thing. You need quotes from like 15 other people in it.
Yeah.
So I did that Ben Sloss piece.
Oh, yeah, Ben Sloss. I raced against his wife.
Yeah, Christine
at AER.
She's fast, right?
She's fast. The team had a little whoopsie, unfortunately, during the race. There was a little whoopsie. Car got a little dinged up.
Which one? Her 512?
The 458.
Yeah.
458 Challenge.
Listen,
but they were all yellow.
Yeah. Well, that's their livery color.
Oh my God, the shoes.
Yeah. So I got
to be honest. The shoes are pretty fire.
Yeah,
like the shoe. Like normally,
I can tell you, I have in my email who made those. So the thing is, but I met them because I went to a Rolls Royce launch at Pebble Beach, and then he was picking up his car, and the Rolls Royce people put me together with them. So what I do is like I write about stuff like that. Like I did a big piece on Michael Fossbender and like him racing Ferraris, and like we went to the track and then we did a whole video package on like Michael racing Ferraris, and then we interviewed all these other people, and then through that I got to interview, you know, Michael Mann, who's like one of my favorite directors, like talking to Michael for like an hour about him racing Ferraris back in the 80s and 90s, and like it's just like that's the kind of stuff that I get to do for the Hollywood Reporter.
Michael Fassbender also narrated the movie One, which is my favorite racing documentary.
Is that
ever.
the F1 race?
Yeah, the F1 documentary.
He is super into late 70s, early 80s rally racing.
Really?
Yeah, we
like
talked
Group
about
B shit.
Yeah, we talked about Group B rally racing for like an hour. And Joe Richardson, who
can I ask you to like introduce me to him? Maybe can you get him on the show.
Talk to Joe. I don't have his info.
Oh, Joe Richardson.
Yeah,
oh,
so,
Ferrari Joe.
Yeah, I don't have any.
I made an offer on Ferrari Joe Richardson's 355 a couple years ago. The silver one.
Yeah.
It's a very pretty car. Yeah. He politely declined my offer, and he ended up getting, I think, the number he was trying to get out of it, which was more than I was willing to pay, but I was happy for him.
I would like a 412 or a 400.
That's so you.
Yeah, I want to.
You would fit fucking perfect in that car.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Automatic.
Well,
blue over tan.
I mean, that's you want to talk about easy to come by. There you go.
That's the
affordable Ferrari right there.
That's my grail car. But the problem is getting
that, or you need like a Bentley Continental, like an old Bentley Continental, a 94.
They have Agara. I get the emails every Friday like, go check out our specials.
Yeah.
They had a 2008 Arnage.
Okay.
99 grand, or I can lease it for 60 months for $2,000 a month. But I would
90. Wait, what year? What year are
like 2008 or not?
$2,000 for
that is.
I mean, the end of run Arnage is a sexy car. One just sold, a really nice one just sold on Bring a Trailer, like yesterday or 2 days ago, and I think it was like 40 something grand.
The problem is your retainer for that car for your mechanic.
Oh God,
I mean that, like, can you imagine like anything goes wrong in that car?
So I have, I've got a Countach that I talk about a lot, and I have two different guys for the Countach. One for big shit, one for little shit. And the one for little shit, my man Donnie Calloway, he daily drives a Turbo R. That's his fucking jam.
Yeah, because he knows how to fix cars.
He knows how to fix it. Yeah. And I asked him, I go, I need to replace the SL. I'm thinking about getting like an Arnage because they're, and he goes, bro, I don't know a single person in LA that knows how to work on an Arnage.
You're fucked.
He's like, it's not that you can't get parts or that they're expensive. He's like, I literally have no idea who would work on that car.
So sometimes when I get sad, I'll do two things. I'll go to the Porsche configurator.
Yeah.
And I'll configure like a GT2, or mostly now I'll go to Mercedes-Benz and configure my E63 S wagon.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
they're the best.
Yeah, or if I'm feeling kind of fitful, I'll go to and build a G63 and like usually sand with black.
Why is a car as good as the E63 S wagon like the most depreciating car ever?
Unappreciated or
no? Why do those things depreciate so fast? I mean, I know all AMG cars do.
No, the E63s don't. So the wagons don't. So here's the thing with the wagons. So I've got a Manheim account. So I'll go on Manheim, which is the auction. And the other thing, when I'm sad, I'll look for what's for sale. Like that is super, like your Aston Martin would be like $11.
Yeah.
So like I look and I'm like, I can get this for that.
Yeah.
And so I
went. What was the deal you just told me you just told me before? Not the smart cars, but you said you found something else at Manheim that was ridiculously cheap the other day, like recently.
Oh my God.
As soon as you walked in the door.
Not the smart car, not our Fiats.
Oh my God, the Fiat's 500Es have to be like a penny.
No, they're actually, so here's the problem. This car's EVs they've hit the bottom of depreciation, and there's like it might be a dead cat bounce, but they now depreciate not as fast.
Okay.
Because people are seeing that they're really good, and so it's a whole. The problem with the depreciation curve on an EV is that the incentives made it so you drive it off the lot with 1 year depreciation built in. So at year 3, you're really at year 4 or year 4.5.
Right.
So that's the way the math works out. But like you can.
But it flattens out. You're saying at a certain point, as long as the car is in good working order.
We were buying them and then selling them, and we were actually making money off them for a while.
Okay.
But that's sort of even up. But the thing is, like, you'll like look for something used. Like I was thinking, like, do I want a 400i? Sure. Do I want an Arnage? And then you start thinking, and my wife's like, are you fucking crazy? Like, because it's a mortgage payment to keep that thing running. Yeah, it's just insane. It's completely insane.
I will say, knock wood, because I got the Countach as sorted as I did, I have now put 2,500 kilometers on it in 4 months, trouble free.
Amazing.
Which is really, really great.
But why did you get the Countach? Was it just your Grail car?
It was my Grail car, and the right car became available. So everything about it is right.
So I met someone who's working on that Don Cheadle show where he drives the Countach limousine.
I don't know what you're talking about. This sounds fantastic.
Pull up. What's that, Black Monday?
Is that what it's
pull
called?
Up Don Cheadle
Countach
limousine.
I didn't know about this, but this sounds fun.
We're at my daughter's preschool, and we start talking about it, and he's working on the show, and I told him, I said, I think my friend Matt's Countach came with a Coke mirror.
It did.
Yeah. So I might put.
So in the passenger seat,
there's
the mirror, the vanity mirror
comes out.
Instead of like flipping up, it actually comes out and it's fully leather wrapped, and you hold it.
It's beautiful.
It's very appropriate.
For you, my friend, is it like you can give like your friends like, so Jack Nicholson had the 2 kinds of cocaine, like
did he really? So the strong and the weak.
Yeah. So Jack had the Jack cocaine, which was actually Angelica Houston talks about it in this issue of New York Magazine. Really? So Jack had the pharmaceutical grade cocaine for him and his friends, and then sort of like the cheaper flake for everybody else at his parties.
So funny.
So anyway, so Don Cheadle drives a Countach limousine, there's a Countach.
Is he a limo driver?
No, he's a Wall Street guy. Oh. It's like set in the 80s. It's like a Wall Street.
Oh, it's
awesome.
A
Wall Street thing. But yeah, that's the car that he has. But
we can't find really good pictures. Oh, is that it?
That's it.
Oh my God, look at
now
that.
We're talking.
That is a really
Took some
Countach limo. That's great. Fuck, I wonder.
It looks like a Fiero.
I mean, it's a little janky, but I gotta wonder if that didn't start as a real Countach.
I don't know.
No fucking way.
I mean, the thing is, but I think if you smoke enough weed, your Countach would look like that too.
Bro, I'm not saying I wouldn't roll that bitch. I would roll that bitch.
It's crazy.
Ideas that come from cocaine, for sure. Yeah. I can do it. You don't think I can do it? I can
rules.
do it.
Yeah. So it's crazy. So the thing is, like, I have a new series that I'm doing for the Hollywood Reporter on. I think we're calling it. We were calling it A Character in Their Car, but it's got a different name now. So I went back. The Amazon PR people reached out to me, and they're like, or I met them somehow. She pitched me, and I said, Bosch is one of my favorite TV shows. It's this show. It's Hieronymus Bosch. It's like Michael Connelly novels. And in the show, he drives an old XJ series Jeep.
Okay.
Like one of those boxy square Jeeps.
Square headlight.
Yeah, square headlight, square things. So I went back. I went on set, and then I had Titus Wellovers, the actor who plays, just drive me around in this like car from the TV show that I really like, and
awesome.
Then talking to the executive about the transpo guy about how they build this rig on top of it. So doing sort of like that's the kind of content that I like to create. Where
that's
it's
awesome.
Like, it's less about when I drive everything just on, and I tell people I do it on background.
Yeah.
So I had a PR person. She reached out to me and she's like, "Do you want to drive this Japanese car at this place next week?" And I said, I don't write reviews. I don't know how to write reviews anymore. Like, I don't know how to be like, the stick shift falls readily at hand. It's like, so
that's the worst line ever.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, putting together the pieces, especially for the Hollywood Reporter, it's like
on background is a funny description.
Everything's on background. So the thing is,
that just means I'm just driving it for my own knowledge of the market.
No, well, yeah. And the thing is, like, if I don't drive it, then I don't know that it exists. And if I don't know it exists, then I can't eventually write about it or put it in the thing.
That is an awesome strategy.
I met with a big electronics company, and we had a meeting with a bunch of their people a couple days ago, and then I said, can we just do this on background so I can feel free to talk? And the thing is, if you do things on background, then you end up talking. The reason I still do journalism is that I like talking to people, and the thing is, if you talk to enough people, you learn how to be a good interviewer. So when I told one of the kids that works for me that I was going today, he's like, are you interviewing Matt? I'm like, no, I'm going on his podcast. So the thing is, it's an art interviewing people.
Yeah, I have to remind myself to do it better all the time.
I think you're doing
just
fine.
I do okay, but I think I can I get interested in something someone says, and I get accused of cutting people off sometimes because I take a little tangent because I find a nugget that I'm personally interested in.
Yeah, but that's your show.
I think that's my usual defense.
Yeah,
my usual defense is like
it's your house, your rules.
Yeah, but and I think I take other people will ask a question and then just kind of close up until. But
the worst is when you're interviewing someone or you talk to a PR person and they just don't know how to talk.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you've got to lull people out. So the piece. So I'm doing a big piece on a Hollywood producer and his car collection, and he just bought a Gullwing. He bought Rex Harrison's old Gullwing.
Nice.
But
is that also Adam? What's his name? Adam Levine's Gullwing?
No,
that was just for sale.
I think it was Bruce Meyer's son's Gullwing.
Oh.
So he bought this beautiful Gullwing.
Everyone's Gullwing is fucking somebody.
Yeah, I mean,
no one unimportant has a Gullwing.
But they're beautiful. They're such beautiful cars.
Yeah.
But he's a friend of mine, and it took me like a year to make him comfortable with doing this interview. But I'm doing a larger package on where do people store cars. So we're doing it on like car condos that people can buy. And then I sent you an email about 6:30 this morning when I was at the office, being
I got back to you as quick as I could. Was it on time?
It's amazing. But the thing is, it's like I'm like deadline piece. I need these kind of things because I interviewed you about 9 months ago. I talked to you for about an hour, and the thing is, it just kept in the back of my head. And then I'm like, I have the facts. I just need to verify the facts.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you can see it too. It's here.
Yeah.
The building's 200 yards from here.
Oh my God! Is that what they're digging out front?
No, that's they're digging some sewer shit out front. No, the building is full height now. It's 42 feet tall. So you go over there and you go, this is really big.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I think it's our May 22nd issue. So
I'm very excited. Thank you for doing it.
Yeah, so
I appreciate the support.
But the thing is, like that. So this whole package is probably 2,000 words, maybe 3,000 words, and it took me. I think I started working on this about a year ago.
It's crazy. The commitment.
Like, it's just like you have to. So you're. And the thing is, like people like for me, writing is meditative. So you sit there and it's like I've got a kid and I got a wife. I have a business. I've got a bunch of other stuff that's going on. And for me, the meditative aspect of talking to someone about cars and then going for it. Like I don't even listen to the radio anymore. I listen to a podcast now and then, but I'll just drive in a car. It could be my favorite car is the one that shows up on Mondays. Like that's when they drop off.
When they drop off the newest thing.
The newest car is my favorite car that shows up for me. Like the best. So what's you drive press cars, right?
Yes.
What's your favorite car that you've driven this year?
My favorite car I've driven this year is the McLaren 720S Spider, which is a low-hanging fruit to pick because it's $450,000, but that car's magic.
Yeah.
It's magic fast, it's magic ride, it's very small, and yet I'm very big and I fit.
You went on the trip in Arizona.
I did, and I got hailed on.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
It rained and hailed, yeah.
Did you drive out to the lake in the 600?
I in the 600?
Or
I drove on the road for like 6 hours in the 720S Spider, and then I drove on the racetrack in the 600 LT.
But when you got back to the hotel, did you do that route, the after route?
No. What was the? Oh,
yeah.
No. What was the after route?
It was just so the PR person from McLaren, Nesmi Varel, she's like, "You're not driving with anyone. The car's all yours." Because when you get bunched up with people, she was a weird wave, so they gave me my own car. So they said, drive that car like you would like it's your own car. So I literally put it in comfort mode.
Yeah.
And I put on the Bon Appetit Foodcast. And I put the top up and the heater on, and I drove to a golf course.
Yeah.
And then I drove it back, maybe a little bit faster. But the thing is, like, the Spider's an amazing car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing? Like, that car is the fastest thing around, period, for less than, like, $1 million. And you can use it for all normal car shit totally fine.
So, case in point, I'm writing about the new McLaren Grand Tour.
The GT?
Yeah, the GT.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. And
Am I allowed to say that I saw it?
Yes, I think.
When's the embargo thing?
I think it's May 9th.
That's today.
Maybe? Zach?
Today's May 9th.
It might not be, but I saw you at that thing.
Yeah.
So there was something special about the car. The interior of that car, we're going to run the piece. I don't know if I'm going to break the embargo, but it doesn't really matter. So they have, part of the interior is made out of cashmere.
I love it.
There's nothing more Hollywood Reporter
than a cashmere
All
interior.
I was asking about was like, can you tell me a little bit more about this cashmere? I'd like some questions. So that's how I cover McLaren.
Yeah.
It's like you can custom order, you can MSO a cashmere interior to your heart's content.
So you wrote 2,000 words or whatever on cashmere.
That's the
Perfect.
thing. So
I did 2,500 words once on the driver's seat of the S63 Coupe.
Yeah.
And it was very easy. That McLaren GT in camo, John and I have seen it, and that picture right there in black are exactly what the car looks like.
yes, that is
The exact
Real good
profile
shape.
of the car.
Really good shape.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, for me, I'm a Jew that's getting older and my back hurts. I do a lot of yoga.
Yeah,
and the thing
comfort is
like,
good.
Comfort. So the thing is, like, especially when you go on like so say you go on any rally or you show up in Malibu.
Yeah.
There's always some corpulent dude with a shit ton of money that can hardly get out of his car. And there's like 12 of them, and they've got whatever the fancy version of pelotes are. Maybe they're pelotes.
Yeah. No, they're just pelotes.
Yeah, and then so the shirt matches the pants, matches the shoes, matches the car, and so it's a paint job, and then no license plates because I'd rather have the ticket than anything else. Huh? But the thing is, like, they're on. So that 720 was comfortable.
Yeah.
The 600 LT was uncomfortable.
Yes.
But it was like I could see if I had a bunch of other cars owning that car.
Yeah, the 600 LT is very nice.
Yeah.
It's just not magic.
No.
The 720 is magic.
But I asked the McLaren people, they're like, what'd you think of the car? And I said, I have two questions. I'm like, I thought the 600 LT was its own car. They're like, no, it's a 570, but it's a bigger engine. I'm like, why don't you just call it the 570 LT? They're like, because of this. So I said to McLaren, I said, your cars are both too cheap and too expensive. So either they need to be, so it's like that character actor that's like, if you gain 80 pounds or lose 50 pounds, we have a part for you. But so McLaren, they should be more expensive, and then some cars should be less expensive.
Okay.
And the thing is, like, I think
the 600 LT at base price, which is $240, is a hell of a value.
Yeah.
The one I drove as a test car was $310,
Yeah.
which is getting awfully close to 720 territory.
Yeah.
And when you get that close, you might as well go 720.
I think the 570. The 570 is a really good car for what it is. But it's also it's hard, even if you're an automotive professional, to know what the difference between these vehicles are.
Well, look, any McLaren you drive for a normal person is going to be the fastest car you've ever driven.
Yeah.
And so I think, and I said it in my 600 LT video, that the virtue of McLaren is that even the quote regular ones are so fucking fast that you almost can't even imagine going any faster. And the LT ones almost don't need to exist because who needs more than this crazy thing?
People do. People,
I know they do.
They
always need more.
I think it's heresy, but I think McLaren needs an SUV. I really think
an SUV in the McLaren ethos could be very interesting.
That's the end of our show.
Carbon tubbed SUV.
Listen. That Urus, I can see how the Urus, and everyone's been talking about how, of course, it's amazing because of the lineage that not from Lamborghini but from the VW group.
Yeah,
it's for what it is. That car's $200,000. That's base. That's crazy. That's the same price as a Bentayga. And the thing is, like, you cannot get one. Like the waiting list. So basically,
those Bentaygas kind of sitting around, aren't they? They're not moving right now.
They're because people. So, but that's going to happen with any high end car. So you get
the hype, and then the.
Yeah, I mean, like, do you think people are going to get the Urus in 5 years when it's like they haven't updated the platform and you're still on an Urus? So the thing is, I think the only cars.
Yeah, Lamborghini model life cycles are way longer than your average. Crossover life cycle.
And the thing
is, the Aventador is what, 2011 to 19.
Yeah.
That shit ain't gonna fly in a crossover.
No. Well, because the tech needs to advance in a
Unless you're a
crossover
Dodge
and
Journey.
the things inside. That's true, or the Caravan.
Yeah.
But the Murcielago or the Aventador also look really good to everybody. So you can kind of, I think the Bentayga suffer a little bit from. They had to defend the looks a lot in the design, and I think if that wears off,
If I had more money, I would drive that car.
A Bentayga?
And like a
would
V8,
not.
a V8,
A V8 Bentayga?
green Verde over nut brown. That car would be.
It's a good color combo.
Awesome.
I think it's wildly unattractive. So I just couldn't walk out and look at it every day.
Yeah. What do you have a daily driver?
Yeah.
What is it?
O2 M3.
It's a BMW, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great car.
It's a good car, but it's
for
just
200, I'll take a Range Rover. Range Rovers.
I agree.
I drove the SV autobiography recently.
Oh, that's lovely.
It was my wife, wife's like, I'm like, what do you want, honey? Like, what do you want for dinner? I want a Range Rover. My wife is like, all she wants is a Range Rover in life. That's all she really wants is a Range Rover, a Range Rover, a Range Rover. And when we went car shopping, I'm like, what do you want? She's like, I want a Range Rover. I'm like, we're not going to get you a Range Rover. I'm like, what about this fully loaded Ford Explorer or this fully? No, I want a Range Rover. So I'm like, is there anything in the middle? And she's like, no. So we got her a GMC Terrain. It's like so for $196 a month. Yeah, no money down.
Did you price a Range Rover for her? Were you like, look, this is going to be $6,000 a month?
It's $2,000 a month for the insurance. And the thing, so my daughter can drop crumbs in it, my dog can barf on it. So the thing is, like, with cars, if you notice the payment, you should not drive that car.
Yeah.
Things can't be. The daily drivers is like, would I be happy with? So the best car I've driven all year that I would actually be happy with is, and this is literally the best car I've driven all year, the Hyundai Nexo.
What the fuck is a Hyundai Nexo?
The fuel cell.
Can you give me a picture of that? I literally. How often has someone come on the show and said a car I've never heard of that's on sale right now?
It is in copper. It is the Hyundai. I hope you're listening. Right there.
Oh.
The best car I've driven all year.
Why is this?
Because
what is it? A fuel cell?
It is a fuel cell car. So it's an electric car that makes the electricity on board.
You fill it with hydrogen.
And it comes with the Hyundai Nexo, the Toyota Mirai, and the Honda Clarity. Those are the three hydrogen cars you can buy in California. Comes with $13,000 worth of free fuel.
Stop it.
$13,000.
How much is that in fuel?
It's
like 2 years worth of fuel.
3 years. So basically, that tank is for the life of your lease. That basically 380 mile range on that car. Fueling. So hydrogen comes in. So I have a huge package that I'm doing for Hollywood Reporter on electric cars and hydrogen cars, and I interviewed a ton of people around the subject because everyone wants something new. 380 mile range, takes about 4 minutes to fill it up. It gets super cooled, and there's like a nozzle that looks like
a cryo fucking.
Yeah, it looks like, like when you see like in sci-fi movies when the LEM docks with the. Yeah. So basically, it locks in. It makes.
Can you give me an interior shot, Zach, of that Nexo? I want to see.
I mean, it's Hyundai quality interior, but a little bit better. The dashboard looks like a cockpit. It looks like if H.R. Geiger.
Oh, it's a I-Pace-esque a little bit. It's not bad. It's kind of a little squared off, but
it is what it is.
God, I hate two-spoke steering wheels. Two-spoke steering wheels suck.
It's much better looking than the Mirai, though. The other competition in that segment is very unattractive.
The Mirai should have been an SUV. The nice thing about this is that it's a crossover. So again, like if you have kids, you stop like the joy in cars unless you can have a lot of them.
Yeah.
The joy in cars gets dissipated. So, and especially like, you look in Hollywood, like everyone.
I can't look at a picture of the Mirai. The Mirai is way too heinous, even in black.
So I borrowed one. I got a Toyota. I got a loaner from Toyota for that for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was enjoyable. Like the thing is, like for a daily driver, my commute is from my house in Laurel Canyon to my office in West Hollywood. So it's 6 miles round trip. So for me, it's like I literally like I can regenerate.
Yeah. I want to check this Nexo thing out. I'm gonna have to call Nunez and get on this because this thing that's attractive. I like that. I fuck with this.
And the thing is, what's compelling is the technology behind it. So when you drive like the McLaren, it should be great for 450.
Yes.
Like that Cullinan should be great for what they're charging. Yeah. And I think like it's the Rolls Royce. That Lamborghini should be amazing. The thing is like when you get into like why isn't this Chevy Traverse better for I drove a Buick that was like $53,000. I'm like, why is this so much money? And are they not cross shopping with anything else?
You know what was great for $50,000? The fully loaded Genesis G70 I drove that was great in pretty much every way.
Yeah, I
really nice.
I drove one of those. I thought it was I'm not a mid-size sedan person, but I thought for what it was it was a good-looking car. But I like the G90 because it was a little more like it's got the back seat,
a little more Japanesey.
Yeah, like you can I went to Pebble with them 2 years ago, and so you sat in the back, and they sort of like they had a driver, and like your feet went on the thing, and it was like
G90's kind of good looking. Yeah, it's a good looking car. We got to kill this show in about 20 minutes, and we have a few questions. I have to go to a lift party. Sorry. Let's get to a couple questions. We got about I saw like 10. Zach, what do we have, Sierras? Can we see? Can you zoom in? I cannot read. What does that say? Shannon Doe. Okay, Spencer says Shenandoah. Okay, so I was just earlier at the beginning of this week. A little background on this question. I went to the Toyota Supra launch in West Virginia, along with a bunch of other people. Our last show that I recorded with my Zoom audio recorder at the bar at the press launch. Shockingly well received. I was like, no one's gonna like this, but actually it was great, and I think the next time I go on press launches, we should definitely have
Zoom the video thing.
Yeah, the little by bullshit that I record my in-car bits with. I just had it at the bar, and we talked cars, and it was really fun. That was our last show. If you missed that one, but fuck me. Oh, the track. The point is, I can't tell you how the Supra drives because it's embargoed for a few more days, and I don't want to get in trouble. But the track they had was the Shenandoah circuit at Summit Point, but they didn't use the carousel and the ski jump, which are both sections that are appropriately named. Ski jump, you can fucking jump, and the carousel is a direct replica of the Nürburgring carousel. Wow. It was a press launch, and so the degree of skill was variable. And so I think for everybody's safety and for the protection of the cars, yeah, they didn't use the carousel. And was the circuit still fun is the question, even without those? Like, I had a pretty good time. I think it's still a racetrack. It was very tight. If you were in a 500 horsepower car, it probably wouldn't be that fun. But in I guess in a Supra, I'm not talking about the car, but the track was fun.
Were there a lot of guys standing around saying, they took one lap, eating donuts and kind of Frank baking? Are those guys still around?
I was on the video wave, and so everyone who was there was kind of getting their shit done. There was not a lot of the older chaps weren't really there on this one. It was a lot of like other YouTubers.
I went on a Cadillac CTS V launch in New York, and there was a guy that was so old, I'm like, how is he driving this car?
Yeah.
And that might have been the guy that went from 6 to reverse.
Oh, God.
At yeah.
That sounds very bad.
Yeah, I'm not
good. There was a couple of very slow drivers at this event. I will not name names. But in general, it was in the grand scheme of press launches, it was a great one. They kept it pretty simple. My hotel room was comfortable, and there was a lot of racetrack time. And other than that, there wasn't a lot of floof.
A helicopter and a bottle of Petrus?
No, none of that. But there was an open bar at night, and there was a racetrack during the day. Nice. And so Matt was a happy boy. Nice. Zach says, should I get a Fiesta ST with the Recaros or a Nissan 370Z with the Sport package to use as a daily driver for 15 to 20 minute commutes, except for during winter beater times? I vote Fiesta ST. I think it's just a more fun car. Not to mention it's more practical. It has a back seat. You fold the seats down, you can fit a ton of stuff. 370Zs have tiny trunks. And worse, 370Zs aren't that fun. They're just not.
No.
They feel old.
Yeah.
Because they are old.
They are old.
Yeah.
Counting Up says, come back, am I going to go back on the PKA podcast anytime soon? I don't have plans to, but if they invite me, I usually say yes. MDB Fabrication says, thanks for the content. You're welcome, sir. Caleb, my second car is a Miata. I bought it as my first front engine rear drive and first manual. What is the next logical step up for around $25,000? The best C6 I can find? ? All right, if you have maxed out your Miata driving ability and you have $25,000 to spend, where do you go? If you want to keep it front rear and you want to keep it manual, we can say you can go up to something like a Corvette, definitely. You can go up to your Mustangs and your Camaros. You can go up to your E46 BMWs and maybe even your E90 BMWs. You can... What else can you get? You can go into the
135i.
BMW 135i.
That's a great car.
They're good and they're fast.
Yeah. It's the right kind of size too for the Miata owner.
Yeah,
but
that
the
could
C6,
be good.
man, like a smartly modded, just regular C6, or if you can find like a used Grand Sport with some miles, that's like probably a more reliable choice than a 135.
I know, but driving going from Miata to C6 is like throwing a hot dog down a hallway. It's like that shit's not. Can you imagine like you're in this little Miata and then you're in a Corvette somewhere?
I mean,
I think they
pretty
feel
nimble.
close enough. It's just there's a lot more room inside and whatnot, and it's a bigger, wider, more serious car. True.
Or maybe like if you can find someone else's modified BRZ or FRS or something, like a supercharged one of those or something like that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know how they hold up with supercharged, but if you have someone else pay the money to do it, that would be great.
Those cars are so underpowered, though.
They are, but if you
stock
put,
they are.
but
So
they are.
under-
But if
yeah.
you put a supercharger on them, they get to fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had Toyota had this isn't embargoed. Toyota had 86s at this event as well, and you could run laps in them. And they had base cars, and they had the TRD one, and the TRD one is basically the same as the BRZ TS. With the wing and the different shocks and the better
Stiff
tires.
suspension, it drives really nice.
Yeah, and so I was like, when I got there, I was like, the base one's gonna be more fun because the slidey tires, right? So I ran some laps in the base one. Fucking. Maybe it's more fun on a skid pad, like in first gear with cones, but on a racetrack, it turns in like garbage. And like the one with the Pilot Super Sports and better shocks was fun, but like it was super slow. Anyway, Zach went from a Miata to an M3. How do you feel about that?
I did with a stopover in Crown Vic territory,
That's true.
which can hold a Miata in it. I mean, well, the M3 just feels like a more complete vehicle. Of course, it's more comfortable, more space, all that stuff, and it feels way heavier. I think if you like the lightness of the Miata, a modified supercharged BRZ would be perfect.
There you go.
Beyond that, maybe E36, but that's too cheap for you, I think.
Cool. Joe says, which one of your videos do you think is the most underrated? Oh, man.
I think it's the motorcycle video.
The motorcycle video, probably. Yeah, that's one. What video do we make, Zach? Did we make a video back in the day that was really good and took a lot of effort and then nobody watched? The nighttime.
All cars go to heaven too.
All cars go to heaven too. Yeah. Or the nighttime Aston Martin V8 V12 Vantage S we shot in the yellow. I think that didn't get the views that it probably deserved.
Isn't that a bummer when you spend all this time making great pieces? You're like, I love this, and people are like, ugh.
That's why I stopped spending time on it.
And we
Then I
shot
could
that
never be
like
disappointed.
nighttime. It was up really late.
We brought lights out to Angeles Crest.
People would rather see Chris Harris style with the video camera than something fully produced nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like the immediacy. People want to connect.
Well, it comes off as more authentic if you remove editing and writing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But we tried to be TV for a while, and it didn't really.
I think
work
it's starting to swing back. Like Savage Geese, people like that. They're like, for a while there was very little work put into videos, I think, and now it seems like more people are appreciating a more produced video with more assets.
Such a big business now. So I'm doing a piece that I should probably on $1 Million YouTubers for the Hollywood Reporter for a digital issue. So people that are like Brian Scott was flaming me over email. He's like, dude, there's people who are doing this. And I'm like, how would I know? I don't watch YouTube. So apparently there's this whole category of like people doing produced or unproduced videos that are making millions of dollars.
I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
It's nuts.
That's
I think, let's go pull that over, Zach. All Cars Go to Heaven 2, our second movie,
how many views?
Well, we sold it.
Oh.
So we sold it for, we made our money back. We didn't lose money on it, but if you didn't see it, when did we make 2015 or 16?
What did we make, or
when did we make that second one? 15 or 16?
Yeah, 15.
I think we made the first All Cars Go to Heaven 1 in 13, and then All Cars Go to Heaven 2 in 15. And what's going on there? What?
Our link on our page goes to a Gone Baby Gone page.
We might have to adjust the link.
Yeah.
I think our account issues when I switched our bank accounts may have necessitated that. All right, we'll look into that one. But it's on Vimeo still. But anyway, let's go back to the last two questions before we get out of here. Let's see. Preston says, let's see. I have a dedicated work vehicle and a paid-off Fiesta ST. We get a lot of Fiesta ST questions, John. I want a V8, and I've been looking at Coyote 2s. Should I assume that's a 2015 and up Mustang? Coyote 2s? Sure, okay. Open to others. What's the move? Florida. Let's see. Challengers. Challengers are the official car of Florida.
True.
No corners to be seen.
I love that car, the Challenger.
I like it
I'd
for what it is.
I'd rather have a Challenger than a Mustang.
I think I might rather have a Challenger than a Mustang. The only issue I have with the Challenger is parking it. It's fucking big.
Yeah.
It's a big car.
I'm a Mopar guy.
I like Mopar.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. So I would say look at Challengers. That's where I would start. In Florida also, like Florida is the land of Corvettes.
Yeah.
Corvettes are very, very plentiful down there, and like all of them have like 0 miles and have been like super pampered, by their retired
I think you
owners.
could probably get a Corvette with like a tonneau top if you wanted to
get the Landau,
yeah,
like a Landau.
I would drive a Landau roofed Corvette. Like that car would be so. I mean, the Landau roof business. Like if that is a business that needs to go online.
Dude, every once in a while, I see a car in Los Angeles that is brand new, and someone has gone Landau roof, like a new Camry or a new Buick.
That is
fucking pimp.
Yeah, that style right there.
Why has no one Landau'd a fan up yet?
So
a new
I think for automobile, I'm gonna do. Wait, hold on. Before we get into the question, so the piece I'm running for Pebble is about what to pack for Pebble Beach.
Oh, perfect.
That's my feature because everyone dresses like shit. I'm like, here's what to pack for Pebble Beach.
Everyone dresses like shit or dresses like
in costumes.
In costumes.
Yeah, they're like, hello, I'm at the ball. This is what a fancy.
So is
night
it
would
what
wear.
to pack to be in costume or what to pack to look good?
To actually look like a human being.
So give us some tips.
You'll see my piece. Custom made suits.
No
how to get your
tees?
shirts done.
I got a custom made suit guy right now.
I saw your suit. Yeah,
he is the man.
I'm to get his name, but he took your fabric, right?
So the fabric. So that's shout out to Groom's Grotto in Huntington Beach. They're awesome. Even if you're not a groom, they make custom suits. They're very reasonably priced.
I think you should do less blip shift and more Groom's Grotto. You should do like
get
a
line of suits.
Yeah.
Should we do a Smoking Tire line of suits? That'd be fucking rad.
Continental.
I bet you they'd love to do that shit. I didn't use the actual fabric from the interior. I took a high res photo of it and printed it on silk.
And that's the thing. It's like less blip shift, more Groom's Grotto.
Blip Shift is a great partner. We're happy to have Blip Shift. We like t-shirts. But if there's demand for a suit, for a Smoking Tire suit, fuck it, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hit me up if you want a Smoking Tire suit. I'll get you my combo. So all right. So Borrow is where it's at. It's only in California right now.
Only in California at JohnBarrow.com.
Is the plan to take over California fully or to spread?
There's like 12 ZEV states, so we're going to be in 12 ZEV states.
Okay.
So depends on how well our fundraising round goes. So we opened up our Series A, so depends on how big we
Silicon Valley.
Hello, nerds.
Do you guys have a Silicon Valley office?
We don't. I don't really want to operate there because it's so expensive.
It's really stupid.
You have to pay your interns $80,000, literally. And also, no one knows how to do anything. Everyone's I got a call from someone. She's like, we're helping you find truth with your logic. I'm like, what the fuck? So there's a lot of what the fuck moments. I don't know. LA is like
my wife works at Facebook, so there's I can't say too much, but there's internal like a virtual suggestion box, basically, and some of the people's suggestions are truly extraordinary.
People, I think the nice thing about LA, and like you're an Angelina now, it's like there's so many smart creative people because there was aerospace, there's entertainment, there's technology, the car business was here. And it's like if you can't hack in Southern California, it's weather, it's so good.
We're giving up our apartment lease in Redwood City. We're giving up. It's in 2 weeks it expires, and I am so excited. It is so expensive. It's the size of this room, and it. Oh, I can't even.
Yeah, I
can't even. It's horrifying.
It's insane. So Borrow's.
I could lease that fucking Bentayga or whatever it is.
So Borrow's where it's at. JohnBarrow.com. We're in California now. We're taking reservations. Read my stuff at the Hollywood Reporter. Read my stuff at Automobile Magazine.
Quick question, really, about Borrow. Before we go out of there, if I go to joinborrow.com and I want a car, am I choosing a smart car or am I choosing that smart car?
You're choosing a smart car.
Okay.
So you're choosing an i3. You're choosing a Model S.
Okay.
If you want, so we did have a customer. This is California in Los Angeles. We had a customer who's like, I want an i3, but I want it with vegan seats. Can you do that? And it took an extra 6 weeks, but we got them the non-leather package.
Okay.
The glue in the seat is still leather, is still like, but the thing is like, so if we have enough lead time, we can get it if the car's available. But the thing is like, you're not going to go to the frickin', unless you're like in Hawaii or on vacation, you're not going to be like, I'm going to go to the rental car company and I want that purple.
No, I know. I'm not trying to grill you on it. I was just curious hypothetical comparison, Turo, compared to Enterprise, right? Turo, you go, yes, I want this one.
Well, Turo, you only borrow it for a day or two. And so the nice thing is that with us, your car's 3 or 6 or 9 months, but we give you Turo and Get Around credits to relieve your range anxiety.
Oh.
So say you want to go to like car camping in Coachella, which our customers want to do. I don't want to do that. We'll just give you credits.
Well, that's cool. All right, I'll take that. Yeah. All right. So I just was because you don't have that many cars. It would be possible that a customer could go click this one and it actually ends up being that.
Yeah, but we rotate through them.
Gotcha.
We've bought I mean, I know so much about buying cars now. So the dealer sucks.
All right. Before we get out of here, speaking of blip shifting, our new blip shift shirt is now on sale. Go to our website.
It'll be on sale now when the show's up, not to the live people.
Yeah, if it's live, no. If it's recorded, yes. It is on sale for 2 weeks only, beginning Monday, May 13th. It is our tribute to the racing Volvo wagons, as well as the movie Crazy People with Dudley Moore. Do you remember Crazy People?
I love that movie.
Boxy but good?
Yeah. Is Dudley Moore dead?
No, I don't believe so.
He's got to be like 90.
I think he's old as fuck, but he's not dead. I love Crazy People so much.
Yeah.
When the dude gets his
Liza
Corvette,
Minnelli?
Liza Minnelli and Daryl Hannah and a bunch of other sort of guys whose face you would know.
Yeah.
And did he die?
He died.
Oh, when did he die?
2002.
Oh shit, a long ass time
Been
ago.
dead for a while.
Aged 86. He was 86 in 2002.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
All right.
But Dudley Moore, like, he had that whole thing. He was just playing like drunks and crazy people. Like
himself.
Yeah. Arthur was such a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, man. Good
Thanks for having
show.
me.
You are an interesting person.
And
with a
mazel
lot to
tov on
say.
your wedding.
L'chaim. Thank you very much. Carbon fiber ring. Amazon recommended. Get our shirt. We have new ones every month, but they only go up for 2 weeks. So if you like it, get it now because it ain't motherfucking coming back. I imagine Zachary will put a link in the bio, will you not? Or in the video description. And of course, joinborrow.com to get one of John's short-term EV leases, which actually is extremely appealing. I think I can see all kinds of need for this now. Your salesmanship is fucking on point, sir.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Thank you very much.
And of course, West Side Collector Car Storage will be opening this fall. You can email me at westsidecollectorcarstorage, all one word, at gmail.com to learn more and get on the list. And John, when you get out of here, drive south 200 yards on Sentinel and take a look. It's
cool.
rad.
Awesome.
Okay. We will have another show for you, I think, on Monday. So have a good weekend, folks. I'll be at Luftgegult. Are you going to Luftgegult?
I will be in an Airstream trailer, the smart trailer in Paso Robles with my wife and daughter.
That sounds cool, too.
Eating pancakes. And someone was going on someone's podcast. They're like, what should we ask Patrick Long? And I'm like, why are you doing it Mother's Day weekend? So, yeah, but I'm gonna miss it.
All right. Yeah. Well, Luftgegult. It's at
last year.
Universal Studios. I'm stoked. Okay. Goodbye, kids. See you later.